You can't have capitalist democracy. And the people who really sort of believe in markets, or at least pretend to understand that. So if you read Milton Friedman and other apostles of so-called libertarianism, they don't call for democracy. They call for what they call freedom, which is a very restrictive concept of freedom. It's not the freedom of a working person to control their work, their lives, and so on. It's their freedom to submit themselves to control by a higher authority. That's called freedom, but not democracy. They don't like democracy, and they're right. Capitalism and democracy really are inconsistent. Actually, what's called libertarianism in the United States is about as extreme an example of anti-libertarianism that you can imagine. They're in favor of private tyranny, the worst kind of tyranny. Tyranny by unaccountable private concentrations of wealth. It's worth bearing in mind how radically opposed this is to classical liberalism. Now, they like to invoke, say, Adam Smith, but if you read Adam Smith, he said the opposite. He's famous for not, the claim is that he was opposed to regulation, government regulation, interference in markets. It's not true. He was in favor of regulation, as he put it, when it benefits the working man. He was against interference when it benefited the masters. That's traditional classical liberalism. This, what's called libertarian in the United States, which likes to invoke the history that they've concocted, is radically opposed to basic classical libertarian principles. And it's kind of astonishing to me that a lot of young people, say college students, are attracted by this kind of thing. I mean, you can, after all, read the classical texts. So take, say, Adam Smith. He was considered to be a dangerous radical at the time because he was pretty anti-capitalist. It's sort of pre-capitalist era, but he was opposed to it. He condemned what he called the vile maxim of the masters of mankind, all for ourselves and nothing for anyone else. It's an abomination.